from 3AW, a radio station here in Melbourne. You probably heard me say before, they are the most corrupt media radio network going around. Just want to read this out to you. Infectious diseases expert issues blunt warning to those who refuse COVID jab. I'll have to know who this expert is, but anyway, look, I'm not going to express my opinion on this. All I'm going to do is read it out and play the audio that was played on the radio this morning. An infectious disease expert says those who refuse to BS19 vaccine can go to heaven early. Wow. Wow. I'm surprised he didn't say can go to hell early, but anyway, we're going to heaven, unlike other people. Infectious diseases pediatrician and senior professional fellow at the National Centre for Immunisation Research and Surveillance. My God, that took a long time to get out. I haven't even got his name out yet. Professor BOOY, you tell me how you say that. Boo, I don't know, issued the blunt warning as details of who is likely to receive the jab first came to light. The risk-benefit ratio is so strongly in favour of vaccination, but if people don't want to have it, they can go to heaven early. That's a choice people can choose to make. We don't lock them up and make them have a vaccine. Not yet anyway. Not yet anyway. Professor BOOY says he thinks 80 to 90% of people will choose to have the jab. This is a vaccine that sells itself. All right. I'm not going to make any comment. I'm just going to play this audio now, and you tell me if it sells itself, and you tell me if this guy actually sells it.
Robert Boyd joins us on the line. He's infectious diseases paediatrician at Sydney University. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we need to put this into context, don't we? So when we're saying, and this is on the back of a report in the Herald Sun today, when we're talking about the over 70s being first in line, there is still a priority list ahead of them, isn't there?
Well, the issue with over 70s is that there's a risk of between 5 and 10% once you've got disease that you'll die, and it becomes 10 to 20% once you're over 80. There are frontline healthcare workers who are aged between 20 and 60 who are also prioritised, probably 750,000, because they're going to be up front and personal with patients who could transmit disease. So it's not just about getting older people vaccinated as though they're guinea pigs. They're actually being prioritised because they're at risk of death and dying.
Absolutely. Now, you might just want to adjust your phone there a little bit, Robert.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So with the rest of the age groups, how long would it take before you actually get down to the sort of the early 20s, late teens? Are we talking in excess of a year?
Probably at least 6 months. If you're very lucky, 3 to 6 months. But if you're a frontline healthcare worker who looks after patients, then you could be in the first 3 months.
It's when would you expect the first of the rollouts?
We've been promised it from March, but there's every possibility that we could have as early as February, especially for older people. The UK are already looking after their older people, and they're doing a good job.
What's the theory behind doing it in increments of 5 years? Is that just basically to formulate some sort of a system, some sort of a regime?
Yes, it's just all about practicality. It's not just age that puts you at risk, it's also having a chronic heart or lung problem, having diabetes, being overweight, being pregnant. So there's a bunch of risk factors not related to age, but age is a good way of dividing people up.
Well, speaking of dividing people up, I just wonder whether this, we're talking about the Great Divide on our roads. I'm just wondering whether this would also cause a great divide in the workplace, even in retirement villages. So if the rollout is prioritised for those over the age of 70, would some nursing homes, some retirement villages make that compulsory? And if there were people in that age group that said, no, I don't want to get it because I don't trust it, I just wonder whether they'd be sort of like banished from certain activities in certain areas of those establishments.
Well, people can make their own local rules, but to be honest, this is a vaccine that sells itself. I think 80 to 90% of people at least will want to have the vaccine to protect themselves and their family and their community. In nursing homes, there are older people who could be vaccinated and I think will get vaccinated. They tend to be, I don't know, you get a bit more sensible when you get older, in my opinion. And then the workers, they might be in their 20s or 30s, but because they pass from patient to patient, from person to person, they're at risk of transmitting. So they too may catch disease, and therefore they're vaccinated to not only prevent disease but transmission within the nursing home. Probably half of all the infections in nursing homes come from being in contact with one of the frontline healthcare workers.
And just finally, can you understand there being a reluctance on the part of some people taking it, given the publicity surrounding some of these early vaccines, like last week with the University of Queensland and also some problems over in the UK?
Well, it's important to weigh up the risks. I think the risk-benefit ratio is so strongly in favour of vaccination. But people don't want to have it. They can go to heaven early if they don't want to be vaccinated. That's a choice that people can choose to make. We don't lock them up and make them have a vaccine. The vaccine really does sell itself.
Well, it's a hell of a quote there. They can go to heaven early if they choose not to take it. Robert, thanks for your time this morning.
Well, I'm just trying to say that people have choice.
Absolutely. Always appreciate the time. Robert Boyd joining us there, infectious diseases paediatrician at Sydney University.